If here with the XRP minute. Really should be called the XRP hour, because let's face it, it's 60 of them, right? 60 of them kind of like assembled and put into a nice little package we call the XRP minute. So what do we have in store today? Well, there's so much news tonight. I was going through the chip archives. I was just kind of like fumbling through, and I kept yelling like, there's just so much good news. And my wife's like, what's going on? I'm like, there's just so much good news in here. XRP is at 0.42. Cut it out. Shut the front door. Incredible, right? Okay, let me know when it gets to 0.43, because that'll be something interesting. RTB, you're on time tonight, my man. You're on time. So I always like to, when we start these streams out, I always like to shout out the very first person. And tonight it is, and we see a trend going on here. It is Jungle Inc. So happy to have you in here, my man. Followed closely by second and third place, which goes to Annalise George. She's a major awesome person, and I believe she's at the gym. Let me know if you're at the gym. I think you're at the gym working out, so we're all keeping you company right there. And we've got Blade Step 44 is here. Sweet XRP Angel Connie is in the house. Scotty XRP, who also loves surf music, which is good because there's 5 minutes of it basically. And we have Auburn Rain here. Big Matt Richter. Oh, Matt Richter is in the house. So what else we have in here? Dana Palmer. And Dana's got a new cool logo. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like the wolf. It's a pretty cool logo, purple and everything. If you haven't guessed, she really likes the color purple. And that's pretty cool too. Who else? Who am I missing? T-Mac XRP. Hi, y'all. Hi, all is what she. I don't know. He, she is. How do you know? You don't even know who it is. I don't know who it is. I can't tell from that small little avatar there. And then we go. We're scrolling, and Big John is in here. Not Little John. We got Big John tonight. Let's see if my Chip the Younger, my little bro, shows up. I usually got to give him a heads up. I don't know if his phone is ever with him. And RTB Dutchy, better known as Roy the Badass. That's what RTB stands for, in case you guys were wondering. Carolina Crypto is here. We have, holy cow, I think Dan Aspie's in the house. What's going on, Dan? Let's see, who else? Oh, yeah, my main man, Jeff from the Hodl Report. Jeff did a stream earlier today. I was driving my kid around. I was playing Uber driver. I'm the Uber driver for my kid, my 15-year-old daughter, and I'm driving her, and she's meeting some old friends, and then my wife's now picking her up, and then that's all we do. We're just Uber drivers. Drive them there, send them money via there's a cool little app that I use. She has a credit card. I used to use Apple Pay all the time, but then Apple Pay has some weird rules around sending people money. It's like, oh, you can only send so much money, and they're trying to control my life. And I love Apple. I know Jungle's a huge Apple person as well, but I mean, it's just kind of weird. Oz is in the house. What is going on tonight? Is Oz in the house? Why don't I see Oz? Where is Oz? Oz Crypto is here. Man, oh man, do I feel privileged tonight. Oz, Crypto, Jungle, XRP Angel Connie, Annalise George, I mean, you guys are all here. What is going on? This is amazing. King Blue is here. What's going on, KB, as I like to call him? KB just sounds cool. KB, what's going on, KB? What else do we have here? Sorry, guys, if I didn't shout you out, just throw a punch me. That's what I always say. Give me a throw punch right in the chat. Chip, you missed me. You didn't throw a punch me. And that's how it's gonna go. That's how it's gonna go. So there's a lot to get to tonight. Again, I always go through stories that I find interesting, and sometimes they're not interesting. And if you don't like them, then that's okay. We'll get through it together. But let's go and see what we have here. There's so much. Like I said, I was going crazy tonight with the amount of stories that are just going on today. It's just insanity out there, really. Let's go here. What are we doing? We're doing something. There we go. Boom, just like magic. Yeah, hey, smash that for Chip, says Dan Espy. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Danny. Appreciate that. So I wanted to cue this story up first. This is, in Jungle, pay attention. This is kind of cool story. I had my wife, who's a controller, who had to like more or less interpret some of this stuff because I wasn't familiar with some of the acronyms. But California CPAs want crypto accounting standard clarity. Well, hey, welcome to the club, California CPAs. If you guys don't know, a CPA is a certified public accountant. My wife's actually in grad school right now, going back. She wants to do the whole thing, and she's mostly doing school, and I'm mostly doing this. I mean, it's like we're both busy looking at our computers. She's watching online courses, whatever. So what they're looking for is some clarity. And now if you think about it, I mean, think about California for a moment, right? So you got Silicon Valley, you got all the fintech companies, you got Google, the Facebooks, your Apples, your Twitters, all that stuff up in San Fran area. And they're looking for some regulatory clarity. And hey, guess what? So are we. We're looking for regulatory clarity too. And I got some cool stories too in and around that front. Not necessarily about clarity, but I see the push bubbling up. We'll get to that in a bit. So hey, Michael Metzner, he's in the house. What's up? By the way, Michael and I are we got a lunch scheduled about at the end of June. We're gonna get a little lunch. It's funny. His office turns out it's about a 1.1 mile away from my office. Is that weird? Small world, people. And anyway, so what they're basically requesting is the Financial Accounting Standards Board, which is the accounting board responsible for the GAAP, what they usually refer to as GAAP. And I've heard my wife talk about GAAP a lot, but I didn't know really what it meant. But GAAP basically is the governing sort of body that in the U.S., and you'll correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jungle, but they basically are U.S. standard. And the other standard, which so the other one, GAAP, and then you also have, where is it here? It was just here. Cal CPA, the committee. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to be ahead of the game right there. And the IFRS, which is the International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation. So it's interesting that my wife's company is a Japanese company. They're a wholly owned subsidiary, but they're owned by a Japanese corporation, which is based out of New York. But because they're public in Japan, they have to. So their company reports using GAAP, and then the company, the main, the Japanese company, which is public over in Japan, they have to use this IFRS, which is the International Financial Reporting Standards. And so this is the part that I found super interesting about this, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about this because Hans Houtskrost, I don't even know if I'm saying that, Houtskrost, he is the chairman of the IFRS. That's the international board. They're in 110 countries. Just listen to this. He mentioned a reluctance to explore new crypto standards because accounting standards typically take 5 years developed, and he believes cryptocurrencies will be gone before that happens. What? Hans, what are you thinking? Hans Houtskrost, whatever his name is, Houtskrost. He thinks cryptocurrencies, hey, let me send a special memo to Hans. Hans, I've got a special memo for you. Yes, a very special memo. Did you know that Bitcoin's been around for, count them, 10 years? Right on. 10 years, that's 5 plus 5, and that's your two standards right there. So I thought this was hilarious. Now, what I liked about this statement is the U.S. is basically losing on every front. You got Japan, who's crushing it, right? Basically all of Asia's crushing it. You have pulling up the rears, you have the European Union. They're just going full steam. They're like, we don't need the US, we don't care. We're doing our own thing. And they're pushing ahead, they're pushing it through, and then all of a sudden, this is the first time you see something where the CPAs in California are pushing for some regulatory accounting standards here. And you've got Hans Houtskrost saying, hey man, I don't think cryptocurrency is going to be around in 5 years. So I don't know much about Hans. He's probably a good dude, but I don't think he's going to be sitting around running the the IFRS very long. So I read that, I saw this and I was just like, there used to be a quote by the guy that supposedly, I guess it's all been debunked, but I used to laugh about this. I guess the guy that ran the U.S. Patent Office, there was some quote, and basically it was an interpretation. It was actually a cartoon, but it was as insane where he said there's no reason to issue patents anymore because everything that can be invented was already invented. It's since been debunked, but it's basically the same sort of theory on that, what's that? Wait, it's IFRS? Is that it? Pronounced IFRS? Is that it? IFRS. Okay, thank you, Jungle. I knew you would correct me on that. Yeah, the IFRS, IFRS. Nice. So we have the IFRS and GAAP, right? I got those two right. So yeah, thank you. I knew I knew I'd screw something up on that IFRS. Sounds a lot easier to pronounce than IFRS. That's just a tongue tweet. Zbits is in here. Zbits 33, guys. And if you don't Zbits is an up-and-coming streamer. Really like his streams. He does some good deep dives, connects some research and dots. He's in the chat. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I got it right. Nice. But Zbits, go follow him. Click on him. Go over there. Give him a follow. He does some cool videos. Really liking what he's up to. He's adding a lot to the space, and totally appreciate it. Yeah, Hansen won't be around in 5 years, says King Blue. Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing. Hans, I got a little secret for you, Hans. You're gonna be gone, man. You're gonna get the hook, man. You're gonna be gone. And I was kind of like doing the two-finger tap, like for once the U.S. has a shot. Are you saying there's a chance we have a chance to be somebody, to do something right? I mean, we'll probably fail massively, but I was like, wait a minute, this guy's in charge of IFRS and he's talking like this. Anywho, this is something that, but anyway, you see what's happening across all sectors. Hey, JVOT, what's going on? JVOT, JVOT. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. I may be pronouncing that wrong. That's just a joke. Bobby Glade is here. Wow, Bobby, I haven't seen you in a long time. And correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby. Aren't you a South Floridian as well? Am I missing up on that? I don't know. I could be wrong on that. So what I like about these kinds of stories is you're seeing this regulatory, this standards. It's all happening in and around blockchain, cryptocurrencies. And, you know, every time I see a story like this, I'm like, we're one step, it's a piece of paper. It's super thin, but when you stack a bunch of papers on top, you start to get some energy going. And when I start seeing these kind of stories, I get super excited here. What is Rain saying? Rain, when I looked for up-and-coming projects last year, I found Pink Date, Escorts on the blockchain, true story, everything on the blockchain. Well, thanks for sharing that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Right. Oh, you're in New York right now, right? But I believe aren't you in Boca Raton? By the way, we're planning a meetup. So we're gonna try to do a Southern Florida meetup where we can have people coming in and around. There's a lot of people up in the Orlando area. Sergeant Obi-Wan is up there. Mr. B's up there. Crypto Bird Dog's up there in Orlando. So if we figure something out, we're 3-4 hours driving, we can figure something out because we gotta start meeting each other, man. We gotta start hanging out. We gotta start. And by the way, if you're looking at this right now, this is a little whiskey sifter right there. I'm gonna do a little virtual toast with Jungle there. This is something that gets real exciting. So U.S. Congressman seeks tax clarity for cryptocurrencies. Oh, you don't say. Tell me more. Go on. So this is Ted Budd. He testified in the House Representatives Ways and Means Committee on purported issues with current tax laws and cryptocurrency for the U.S. The video was released on the 4th, but basically Budd argued that cryptocurrencies should have a de minimis tax exemption like foreign currencies. He also said that he actually co-sponsored H.R. 3708, which was the Cryptocurrency Tax Fairness Act, which basically would extend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. You see we have all this old stuff laying around that we have to like dust off, and like, hey man, we need to shine it up. We need to make it new. He said the fact that the IRS considers cryptocurrency to be a type of property, cryptocurrencies do not necessarily currently qualify for a de minimis tax exemption. So instead, they're properties that IRS requires persons who use cryptocurrency to buy fiat money, goods, or services to calculate, then pay the tax liability associated with property transaction. Relatedly, Budd commented on the issue of double taxation. Since cryptocurrencies are taxed as properties, cryptocurrency transactions result in double taxation. That's what I've been saying for a while. We're getting hammered for double taxation. So it's really cool when I start seeing that somebody's taking, take the what is it? The spear, the stick, and start hitting people with it. We got to get somewhere in the U.S. I feel like we're falling so far behind, as is pointed out by so many other. Hey, James Malpass, what's going on? James Malpass. C-Re, what kind of a risk? Well, actually, I'm sipping on a little bit of Bullet, which I call my house bourbon, and then it's usually between that and Scotch. But thank you for asking, C-Re. I really appreciate that. What article is this? What is this? That's a good one. I got to figure out what that is. Let's see. Well, this is what they did was they highlighted. I actually didn't watch the video. I probably want to watch the video because this is one take on it and what they pulled out of this. But The other thing he said is on the HR 7361 or virtual value tax fit of 2018 bill, which includes cryptocurrencies in the scope of tax. This is just what's this mumbo jumbo? It's a lot of stuff and reading, whatever. The bottom line is that we're trying. You got somebody who's standing up, who's trying to basically be a stand for cryptocurrencies. And I think what's happening out there, if you're in the U.S. and you are in here and you're hey, Spanish Fly's in the house. Spanish Fly, what's going on, Fly? Ed French, hey man, long time. Ed French from the ranch. Dan, the XRP man. So when you see some of this stuff, I actually want to watch the video. I didn't have a chance to watch the video, but I bet you there's some stuff. Let me see. I also clicked on this one too. There he is. Hey, look at me. Call me Mr. Crypto. We have Crypto Dad leaving, and we have Crypto Pal right here. He's the Crypto Pal. He's also from North Carolina, so I don't know if XRP Carolina's in the house. Did I see XRP Carolina in here earlier? I think I did see that. XRP Carolina's in the house. Yeah. So basically, this is what you have to do. This is your rep, XRP Carolina. You basically got to tweet them. You got to look them up. Listen, bud, and you can say that like, hey, bud. It's probably disrespectful, but I'm not meaning in that way. Just a little funny. But Ted Bud, you say like, hey, it's kind of cool that he's in your state and he's actually out there doing something. He's doing something. He's saying, hey, we got to do something, and he's doing something. So anyway, it's not the first time Bud called upon Congress or the Commodities Future Trading Commission, the CFTC, which I have another story on those guys too. And I know that Jeff from Hodl Report talked about them for a bipartisan effort to better regulate the cryptocurrency industry. And we have something that is still sitting in committee. I'm sure that Jeff will probably talk more about that. Carolina crypto, right on. So reach out. Are you North or South Carolina? I don't know which one you are. I'm not sure where you are. Hey bud, let's party. Yeah, that was a line from Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Did I get that right, Michael? Yeah, we are old, officially old. Right on. Yeah, hey Fly, nice to see you. Alex Yeet. Alex Yeet is here. Alex Yeet. So I thought I would just do a little bit of that. Let's see what's going on in here. Yes, after Chip Carolina, crypto, Alex Yeet in the house. Let's see what else is going on here. A lot of hellos. My dude Alex Yeet made me a dope banner. Yeah, that's right. Z-Bits. I got to say, that's cool. I was going to ask you who did that. And I have to tell you guys, this is what I think about. You guys all know Hardcore, and he's amazing. But I got to tell you, Alex Yeet, and he does, I'm like, dude, you're doing this cool stuff. He's just doing a bunch of stuff. He's a talented designer as well. There's always plenty of room in the space for more people, just like more streamers. We all give our own take, we have our own delivery, we bring something in this space, and so I'm always happy to, promote people from within. We've got a lot of amazing people in here that are doing great things, and sometimes we see it publicly, but a lot of times you're just doing it in your world. You're a great mom, a dad, a brother, sister, you're doing cool stuff, because that's how I like to think of the community, the XRP community. I hold us up to a really high standard. We do great things. Not only do we watch each other's back, but in our lives, it's every facet. It's all interconnected, and we build upon that. So, the XRP News Network. So I like to think that we do great things. Look at this here. So let's look at this. This is Google, Facebook, and others are doubling down on crypto. So we're hearing the big words. We've heard ad nauseum about Facebook, right? Facebook, global coin. They're doing the global coin. Yeah, we're pretty. We know all about that. But what's interesting, I got another little story about that, but they're getting ready to release this. At least that's what they're saying. I don't know if that's true, if it's coming up. So true, Chip. Yeah, thank you, Spanish Fly. Yeah, we all play our role in the revolution. Well said, Jungle Inc. Caught you, QQN. Good fishing there, Carolina. Hey, Caught, what's up? Caught you? I caught you, QQN. I got to figure out what I got to call you. There's a lot of stuff there. I gotta break that down. I gotta do a little mini workshop on your name because it's gonna trip me up there. Yeah, Jungle, when will it be televised? It's televised every other day, every night it's televised. By the way, I gotta talk to you about that too, Jungle. I had an idea the other day and I've been wanting to share it with you, but I will share it. So let's talk about this. Let's just the bullet points here. So cryptocurrencies have until recently seemed to be in a slump. Says you. XRP seemed to be one of the only ones showing green, which I like the kind of breakaway today. So we had Bitcoin on a slide. We had a bunch of other coins on a slide. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Is our favorite little coin, our little XRP, is green when everybody else is slumping? And Bitcoin too, which took a 3,000% dump. I think it dumped from 50 something, or I don't know what it was, down to 6. That's silly stuff. Are you kidding me? It's like, I was like, there's going to be a lot of people on suicide watch, to be honest with you. I mean, it's going to be some serious super life. Guys, let me just do a little second here to do some shout outs here. So I got one XRP from Palmer. Thank you. I should call you the wolf now because that's what I see you as. The Holder Report, Jeff in the Holder Report 985. Thank you, Jeff. And Spanish Fly, 1XRP. Thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. I really appreciate you being here and contributing into here. Also, tech giants, including Amazon, Google, Yahoo. Is Yahoo a thing anymore? Should Yahoo be named in that? I mean, really, should we be talking about Yahoo? By the way, a little side here. I always tell these little side stories where I talk about my own personal stuff. But, I've been to Google. I've been inside of Google a couple times. That's a crazy world, man. I felt like I was going to both times I've been to Google and touring around Google, I felt like I was in some sort of kind of like, not necessarily a cult, but it felt like everyone else got it. And I was over here in the camp of like, what's going on? And sometime maybe I'll share a story about that. But I remember one time I went to Yahoo, had some meetings there, doing some pitches, and as I'm walking up, I see a big lake, I see volleyball courts, people are out playing volleyball, people are out in the park. I'm like, when do people work here? I was like, do they do any work? So it really is, the Yahoo, the Googles, it's kind of like, look, if you get your work done, they treat you like an adult. You get your work done, you do what you're supposed to do, and they give you the free time. You want to go play beach volleyball for 2 hours? I don't care, but you're going to end up having to catch up at some point. A lot of cool facilities. Now, when I remember eating at Yahoo, I go in there, and it was a ridiculous cafeteria, whatever you want to call it. It was like it was like tour around the world. You want Thai food right over here? Do you want, Mexican? You name it, they had it. And they had some really interesting stuff. So I was kind of like, can I just grab a little bit of each because it was so much fun? And I'm going through, pulling out my wallet. No, it's all, you're a guest. You don't pay for any of this stuff. But anyway, so now the funny part about that was later in the evening, myself and my colleagues, we're driving past the building, and what do we see? Lights on, people walking around. It's like 9:30 at night. The people that are playing volleyball early in the day are probably working now. They're sitting around, walking around the building, and it felt like it was like, like they were the night shift, but it was just people working. They were just working hard. Caught you looking. That's what he says. Caught you looking, says caught you. All right. What else we have here? I always like the suicide. Yeah, suicide watch. You worked for Google for 8 years. Nice, man. Well, good for you. That's something I didn't know about you, KB. You're a deep person. I don't know about that. Where did you work for Google? I think you worked for Google in Austin, right? Am I right? I hope I didn't give anything away, but I think you worked. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. But I was at the one over in Mountain View. I haven't been inside Apple. Does anybody know how to get chip inside of Apple? Anybody? I'm listening. Hit me up. If you know someone at Apple, next time I'm out there, chip's going into Apple because, I'm an Apple freak and fan. Although lately I've been a little bit sort of, I've had my issues here and there. I mean, let's see. Jobs isn't at the helm anymore. But let's go through this really quick. Facebook's launching its own coin. Yahoo recently announced a new exchange. Google launched the crypto-related search tools. Amazon snaps up domain names. It's funny. Amazon's been buying these domain names for some time. Like Amazon, Ethereum.com, Amazon. I think if you look at the who is on this, it's probably 2 years old, right? And it's not like they did anything with them, but they register it doesn't mean they necessarily did anything with it. Yeah, it's a pretty good story, but I mean, it's just, again, it just adds to the whole scenario. Hey, Chip the Younger's here, my little bro. Patrick Chip is in the house. Got some apples in my food dehydrator. Food dehydrator. Yeah, I got to get one of those. I got to get one of those air fryers too. I hear those air fryers are pretty good. I've never had any food with them, but I hear those are good. Chip the Younger, thank you for stopping by and sharing that Apple story. Much appreciated. A little bit different than what we're looking at here. So here you go. This was more iFurs right here. This was another one. This was supposed to be the companion piece, but again, this kind of highlighted. There was a tweet that was put out. This was December of 2018, December 18th, as a matter of fact. And this is when the ISAB chairman predicted that cryptocurrencies would be gone. But this is when someone doesn't know anything that they've been hanging around for 10 years. This is my key story, my thumbnail, my key story. This is the one that I had here. And I love this headline, man. I mean, they're really just lambasting. They're just hammering this Jamie Dimon, right? I mean, like he probably need, and look at they even get a picture where he looks disappointed. Like they called him out. Hey, Dinosaur, Jamie Dimon. He's all depressed. He's walking away. So a lot of times I read between the lines. I like to see some of the stuff. There's a lot of creativity with these articles. You know, they use clickbaity headlines and all kinds of weird stuff, but I like this. So it says Dinosaur Jamie Dimon needs to accept that millennials hate JPMorgan. They hate it. JPMorgan scrapped its mobile banking app, Fin, because it was all frosting and no cake. Believe it or not, Jamie Dimon, but the millennials don't want that. Now, this is what I love right here. JPMorgan scraps the stupid emoji banking app after 12 months. Like, I remember when they were going to launch this app, but just look at it. Seriously? I mean, are you kidding me? You know, let's make an app for, like, you know, what is this, like, you know, preschool kids? I mean, what they thought was it was launched last June to emoji-loving young people, right? This is what happens when you ask older people what they think of young people. What do you think of young people? They like emojis. If you put emojis in an app, everyone will use it. It'll be mass adoption, right? That's wrong. That's not necessarily mass adoption. That's not what's going to happen. But this is what the app actually looks like. And I'm like, what? I never downloaded it, and it said one can imagine that a marketing exec at JPMorgan boardroom midnight 2017 put lots of emojis. They like emojis. That'll get them. Condescending jerk. Funny article. Who wrote this one? This is Wes Massamore. But I love this one. He said, Jamie Dimon sold millennials out. Well, he pretty much sold everyone out, in my opinion. He came out with a crypto so-called, could be a coin. We're going to call it a crypto coin. Not going to be available to the public, and no one else is going to use it. But aren't they going to take over XRP, right? This is what I love about this. It's a joke, and we see a lot of this stuff all the time. What are we looking at? So JP Morgan has money and emojis, but no mojo. This is just filled with like one-liners. Zing, zing, zing. I got to go out and follow this guy. I probably have pulled his stories up before, this Wes Massamore. But as you can tell, he's not a big fan of Jamie Dimon either. And I say the community at large is not necessarily that much of a fan either. So he said even more laughably, Dimon had the audacity to ride the cryptocurrency hype with JP Morgan's laughable, boring dud of a crypto. So this is one of those articles where they just get the whipping stick out and they just hammer them left and right. And it's a little bit of a fun read because it's kind of good to see. You know, Jamie Dimon's been kind of the villain. You know, everything needs a villain. You know, everything has a villain. You know, all the superheroes, they got these villains. Jamie Dimon's like one of the villains. You got Warren Buffett on the other side. He's like, I don't like cryptocurrencies. They're not worth anything. Meanwhile, you know that he has subsidiaries buying, manipulating the market. You're not hearing it from me because I'm not a financial analyst. I am just speculating that that's probably going on. They probably say that, you know, that's not happening, but sure enough, it's happening. So Kadena releases an updated smart contract language for hybrid blockchains. This is kind of cool. So, you know, you hear so much about, you know, smart contracts. We hear all about smart contracts. You know, one of the things about smart contracts is when it's written to the blockchain, it's just, you can't modify it. There are some that you can modify, but a lot of times you can't. Some you can append. But what I like about this is something called PAC 3.0 makes the features available that make hybrid blockchains a reality. We now have a smart contract language. So this is kind of good. They're really forward thinking. I don't know if something like this catches any fire, but again, we're here. I mean, there's just every little sector, every little niche. It's like, look at this, look under this rock over in this corner. It's a smart contract programming language. So when I see all this stuff, that's Stuart Popejoy, former blockchain team lead investment at banking giant JPMorgan, founder of a multi-million-dollar enterprise startup called Kadena. So it's interesting to see what this team's going to basically turn out. If this is going to take off, this PAC 3.0. So first of all, it features a simple payment verification support, meaning that developers can now deploy smart contract environments on a Kadena blockchain. You know, I don't think it's as much about will this catch on, but I think what we kind of can pull from this is that when you see this stuff happening and bubbling up, You're seeing like a change of thought. Usually thought leaders come up with something. It's not the 1.0 or 2.0. Usually somebody else takes the idea, runs with it, and turns it into something that becomes the reality. And certainly this is probably one of those things. Second, it introduces a functionality called capabilities that ensures secure rights-based computing on the blockchain. In the most general sense of capability can be seen as a right to do something that exists in data. So I like where they're going with this. I don't know if it's going to take off, but I certainly know that this is the right kind of thinking as we move forward. Bob Moneybags is here. Bob Moneybags is in the house. What up, Bob? C. Reed says, I'm a nerd. Does that suffice? I'm going to go, yes, it suffices. It's okay. It certainly is. Phoenix Starborn's here. By the way, if you didn't know this, Phoenix Starborn is a Jedi. XRP Carolina. What else we have in here? I saw another comment here. I don't know what it was. So let's see what else we got here. I noticed this. Oh, what the hell is going on? Look at this. RTB, better known as Roy the Badass, tipped me 30 XRP. Dude, holy cow, you guys are killing it. Lighting it up tonight. Thank you very much, Roy. Much appreciated. RTB, Roy the Badass. That's what I call him anyway. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it is that way now because you own that. Pat Young in the house. What's up, Pat Young? Dude, thank you for stopping by. Much appreciated. This is so cool when I see stuff like this, guys. Thank you so very much. So this is kind of cool. This actually is not a news story. Ripple to enhance transparency in XRP volume reporting. I think this actually came out yesterday morning, but I like the fact that Ripple is starting to look at the accuracy and working with reliable partners in the industry to basically understand scale and scope of the problem to, with the XRP reporting volume. I think this is key for us in the industry. It's very good for us. And I just wanted to touch upon this because when you start looking at this kind of stuff, the inaccurate reporting, it really does hurt the industry at large. And, there's so much manipulation. We're seeing all the whales come in and this and that. And that's another reason we need regulation. You can only go so far. What is going on? Blowing up over here, people. Something's happening. What's happening? Oh, excellent. So Rain here. Auburn Rain just sent a 589 XRP. I got 10 XRP from Carolina Crypto. Thank you. It's N Carolina Crypto. So I'm guessing that's you. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is something I wanted to kind of highlight. Skepticism regarding cryptocurrencies because they're not regulated nature, inaccurate reporting. I really wonder. I'm also trying. Think about this. We're on Twitter or we're having a chat. Somewhere where the XRP community is congregating, and someone's like, it's at 0.42, and oh no, I got 4.3, and I'm seeing it as high as 4.39. It's like, what is it? I mean, if you had 100,000 and you sell it at that, and you buy a dip for 2 cents, you know what I mean? It's very confusing, and I really wonder where is the best place. Coin market cap, live market cap. There's Paprika. There's so many of them, and they all have different volumes, different amounts. And so anytime I see some sort of streamlining in the industry, this is a great thing. We have to have more of this, and Ripple's taking the lead on that. So Medici Ventures leads funding. I always like to talk about what's happening in the venture capital world because, it used to be that VC, they've gone through phases, but now they're in the, even fintech. Fintech was more the banking side. Now what you're starting to see, I'd say like the last 9 to 12 months, you're seeing venture capital, still fintech space, but really going heavily into blockchain. This is a cool idea right here. So this is blockchain e-voting platform. And the way this one works, and this got some coverage too, but the name of this, so if you guys know Overstock, the Overstock CEO said, the hell with everything. I'm selling everything. I want to just go into crypto 24/7. So the name is really cool. It's appropriate. It's called Votes, VOATZ, I believe it is. Where is it? They even talk about that? Yeah. And they got a nice little raise, a Series A funding. So they're going to accessibility, the U.S., abroad. Now, Votes itself, here it is right here, Votes. They completed a pilot program which military personnel and U.S. citizens living abroad voted on the platform in Denver, Colorado's 2019 municipal elections. They broke ground with a pilot, which is similarly out of country. And here's what I see when I look at something like this. Everything on the blockchain. And I know Jeff brilliantly talked about, and he basically put this into fundraising. Talked about the hurricane that hit Haiti. A crazy amount of money was raised, but again, it all disappeared. And meanwhile, on the ground, the people, the volunteers, everything, the money never showed, right? It never really trickled down because everyone got their hand in the cookie jar and everyone basically lifted the money. And Jeff from Hodl Report was asserting that what would have happened if they had the blockchain? You would have seen every time it transferred, to who it transfers and how it transferred, keeping accountability. And I also think that this is going to really cut back on voter fraud because now you can see it in the blockchain. So when I see Medici Ventures going into something putting $7 million, it's a pretty good seed round, to be honest. I mean, and whether this takes off and this ends up being something or not, it remains to be seen. But again, we see more and more things that are happening in the space. And again, voting is a problem pretty much everywhere. I forget which country it is. You go vote and then you dip your hand in like ink and like your hand is stained with like indelible ink for like 3 weeks. I don't know what that is. There's a state and it's like, so you can't like really go hide the thumb or stick it behind your back and you can't double vote, right? So that's one way to do it. The blockchain is another way to keep it honest and keep the integrity of elections. And I really like where this is going. Let's pop over to the chat, please. Let's go over to the chat. What's going on here? Anybody have any questions? Anything going on? What's Carl Lewis talking about? Jedi's favorite part of his. I'm not going there. I'm not even going there, man. I'm not going there, Carl Lewis. I'm not. Yeah, we need blockchain for voting, says Auburn Rain. Big, it would change the game forever. Agreed. Yeah, I like stuff like that. That SwissGold.ch accepting Ripple as payment for gold and precious metals. Been speaking with JM Bullion to do the same. Right, JM Bullion's one of the big leaders out there. Somebody else that I know that's actually in that sector that I often sort of trying to find out what the next big thing is and going on. Something similar to JM Bullion. So yeah, that's thank you for that, Dana. I appreciate that. What else do we have here? Yep, okay. Yeah, I want to shout out somebody else. I see my phone blowing up a little bit here. What is going on? So I just received 4 XRP from Jungle Link. What? Jungle Link, thank you very much, man. I will cheers to you and all and everybody. That's just a beautiful thing. It really is beautiful. So what we're seeing is we're starting to see things blow up. I want to tell a little short story. Can I tell with you? Since we're here together, friends, can we talk about a story? So the CFO at my company, he's I wish he was here. I keep telling him, you need to come on the stream. You need to come on the stream. What's up? Going on, Gaming Crypto? So yeah, I've been telling him, he goes, are you into that cryptocurrency stuff like Bitcoin? And I go, yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, I started talking about XRP. Well, this conversation started about 2.5 years ago, right? It started longer than that, but 2.5 years. And I said, Phil, when are you going to be ready? When are you going to be ready? You have to be ready. He goes, today's the day. I'm going to get on it. So anyway, he sets up his account over at Coinbase. And I don't hear anything. So 2 days go by, and all of a sudden he runs down. I see him down the hallway. What's going on? He goes, I got to tell you something. What is it? He's running down the hallway. I come into my office. We come into my office. He goes, I did it. XRP, I did it. What did you do? He goes, I bought a couple $100 worth of XRP. I'm like, yes, beautiful. And he's like, yeah, I did it. So I popped by his office today, and I'm like, hey man, you're up. The market's up. You got a little green going there. And so just coming from his framework, he immediately goes to the stock market and says, oh yeah, I see it. It's, yeah, okay. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the stock market. You're in a different game now, man. You are in a different game. He goes, oh yeah, what's going on with it? He goes, I just bought some more last night. This is the beginning to mass adoption. This gentleman is in his, I think early 60s, fair to say. He doesn't look it at all, but I'm telling you, he says, he also told me how much he loved the app. He goes, that app's really cool. I love the app. How simple. Click, 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 click. He really loved it. And I thought to myself, this is going to start happening to everyone in our lives, right? Those people that thought you were nuts and crazy are like, please, is this another story about cryptocurrency? I know. XRP. They're going to give you that whole thing, But then comes a day where they go like, hey, psst, hey man, what's that XRP? Can you tell me about it? And you know, my bro's in here. Chime in, bro. Little Chip the Younger. Chip the Younger, are you here? By the way, he said he would be here for my thousand sub celebration show. He said he would be here, and I'm like, you better start booking that ticket because we have about 150 to go, and with your help, we will get there together. So that's something that's going to happen. Yeah, the Tipbot app could change the game for everyone, Rain. Absolutely. Crypto addiction is a progressive disease. Michael Metzner, you called that. And then one of the things that I told him, I said, I'm gonna have to give you a warning. He's like, I know it's volatile and I know there's risk. I'm like, that's not what I'm gonna warn you about. I'm gonna warn you. I'm gonna warn you about the addiction. Here's a guy that bought it, and then the next day he turned around and bought more, right? So I'm like, wow, man, that addiction's happening a little bit faster than you. It took me a little bit of, I had to like walk a little bit, then I had to jog, but he's just like, boom, he hits the ground running at 60 miles an hour. So I'm like, how you feeling about it? He goes, I'm in, I gotta get more, I gotta get more, I gotta get more, I gotta get more. That's what he said. So I love stuff like that, man. All right, what do we got here? Wow, we're running out of time. We are just, guys, what's going on with our time tonight? It is like crazy. Food Shot Global digging up innovation on soil health as part of its first prize. Where did this story come from? Wait, okay, this is what I was looking at. Okay, so according, Facebook is apparently ready to review the details, the deets as they say, about its cryptocurrency, code name Libra. Well, I don't know, as we've heard WorldCoin. It's scheduled for a June 18th release of a white paper. So apparently this white paper will have a little bit more information. It's coming up. It's about a week and a half away. And, this white paper is going to get analyzed and ripped apart and killed and shredded and reshredded and just thrown up in the air. But we're finally going to see what's going to happen. So I feel like they've got a lot riding on this white paper. We're going to really learn a little bit of what's going on. So put June 18th on the calendar. Put it on the calendar. That's what I want to say. By the way, I wanted to promote the Zoo stream after this. Auburn Rain is going live with James Malpass. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I may be, because I'm not perfect. But I thought that was the thing. Let me know if that is indeed. What is Moneybag saying? Oh, you're streaming too. So Bob Moneybag is going to be in there streaming too. No, man. I'm going to watch you guys. You guys are awesome. You know what I mean? I'm going to watch you guys. I'm going to be a voyeur. I'm going to watch you. Maybe get a little more whiskey, settle back. Because, I need some entertainment. You guys are great, man. You guys are great. Who else is going to be on there? Yeah, the Zoo is streaming immediately following this, I believe. So far we've got Bob Moneybags, James Malpass, and we have Auburn Rain, better known as Rain. So that's going to happen after this. That's what we're going to be doing. So let's look forward to this white paper that's coming up. And I'm running out of time here, guys. I got 11 minutes left. 11 minutes. Poloniex leaves itself open to legal threats by socializing 1,800 Bitcoin loss. You guys have probably seen this in the news, but what kind of shocked me a little bit about this was they basically socialized the 1,800 loss among the principal of all their active BTC loans that weren't active at the time of the crash. That's like a no-no. They took stuff, it wasn't segregated at all, and it all kind of got mixed in together, and it definitely could spur a legal battle in the U.S. Since it's illegalized to socialize the losses. So I anticipate this is not going to end up being good news for a Poloniex. I can never say that right. It's Poloniex. I believe it's Poloniex. Well, I don't know what it is. I'll call it Poloniex. So anyway, that's something that's coming up. Let's look. What do we have? So this is another story I came across in my travels of looking at the XRP on the Twitters and everywhere else. The former poker pro launches MintDice, an online crypto casino. And this is pretty interesting. I don't know who this is. Bryce Diafuku, a professional poker player and early Bitcoin investor. MintDice is poised to be a great use for everyday adoption of cryptocurrency. Where have I heard everyday use of cryptocurrency? Oh, I think I've heard it pretty often. Yeah, pretty often. All right, so this is cool. So Dana Palmer says her mom buys herself at 74. I'm still working with my dad. My dad is 78, I believe. Correct me, Chip the Younger. I believe he's 77 maybe, 77. I don't know. It's close, 77, 78. But he's learning about it. But what I have to do is just set him up with an account and then keep sending him XRP so he can see that kind of go up, for dad and mom, of course. And I think Chip the Younger disappeared, man. He came in, talked about apples, left us with a story, and then boom, he's gone. Just like that. If he's here, he can chime in about something. So there's a cool little article about this, and I'll put this in the chat. The chat. I'll put this in the description down below. Eventually, at some point. No, I will put it down there. So he just talks about, it's a little bit of an interview, like how did you get into crypto? What did you see as, I'm not going to get into the entire story here, but as we know, we have casino coin. You're starting to see a lot of things spur around. There's been cryptocurrency betting for such, yeah, maybe a lot more whiskey, says C Reed. Maybe. I like where you're going with that. He's cleaning his watch. Rain says he's cleaning his watch. Rain, I would laugh at that, except I think you're spot on about that. Watches. I would just put watches. He's cleaning his watches. So anyway, a good long story about MintDice, the team, what it's doing. I'm not going to get into specifics about it, but I just wanted to mention one more time, when you get into the whole thing, it just turns out that it's just more and more mass adoption. And so let's talk about some of the executives leading Facebook's cryptocurrency project. This is David Marcus, VP of Messaging Products at Facebook. They did their Facebook thing. So he's basically heading up the blockchain project. He announced that we'd be stepping away from his role as messenger, because that's important, right? Because that's an important product, right? I think I killed it on my phone a long time ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't know when I killed it, but I destroyed it. I just beat it. I hit it with a hammer and I bleach bit it off my phone. Bleach bit to get it off my phone. It's the worst app ever. I mean, you think about messaging apps, and Facebook, I mean, they haven't updated their design in like 15 years. Whenever they started, it's the same boring, horrible design. Apparently, I guess they're updating it. I don't know. I haven't been on there in ages. Anyway, this is a whole cool article about, it dives in a little bit more of some of the people on the team, who they are, what they're running. I kind of like it too, because I only see like the general stories. The general stories are like, hey, Facebook, have you heard Facebook has a coin, code name Libra, and it's going to be called Global Coin? No, I can't say I've heard that. That's new news for me. Thank you for letting me know. So it's kind of cool. It kind of dives into who these people are and gives a little bit of a story about that. Yeah, Yahoo Messenger. I gotta say, Yahoo Messenger was epic in the day. It was like the go-to app. And I think everybody at one point was on Yahoo Messenger. I have to agree with that, Jungle. There's another big one back in the day too. I'm trying to think of what it was. Auburn Rain says Facebook app uses a lot of resources on your phone. Yeah, it sure does, man. It sure takes up the resources. We're winding down 5 more minutes. So here we go. This is Bitcoin's unaffordability argument is weak after reports suggest mining gold is more expensive. This is a crazy, silly story, but I had to talk about it. So gold is considered one of the most valuable elements on planet Earth. However, an argument about Bitcoin being the most valuable digital asset presently available can also be made. So this is Peter Schiff. You know him, you love him, Peter Schiff. I know Digital Asset Investor talks a lot about Peter Schiff and how he respects everything he's done in the stock world, but not necessarily so much in the crypto world. So he talked with Barry Silbert recently, where he suggested that the act of transferring Bitcoin was similar to an act of transferring nothing. Bitcoin is nothing. Yeah, it's nothing. He added that if Bitcoin was used on a massive scale, it would be impossible to maintain the network as it was unaffordable. He's actually wrong, but he's kind of close. On a massive scale payment system, speed is everything, and we know something about speed because we are XRP. XRP, that is the community here today. So anyway, again, I'm not going to get into this because I am running out of time. We got 5 minutes left on that dial. We have to make way for an incredible stream that is AOL. That was it, AOL, and it's a joke, but AOL had a messenger app, and now we laugh about that. By the way, in the business that I'm in, I see a lot of professional people. They've been around. You can tell their age because they still have an AOL account. So you can kind of get an idea where they're at. They either have an AOL, which is ancient, then they have Hotmail, or a Yahoo account. They still have them. They still use them professionally. It's kind of weird and crazy, but they do use them. Yeah, that was the thing with AOL. AOL gave you free internet. They're like, I quit. You call them up. You're like, hello? Yeah, AOL? Yeah, I quit, man. No, but we'll give you 3 months. Okay, 3 months, all right. And 3 months later, you call back. Hey, AOL, I don't want it, man. I don't want it. You sent me 3 CDs. I don't want it. They're like, okay, you don't want it. How about a year? Okay. And then, so I don't know how they made any money, but it was just they were constantly doing some bizarre stuff. I've been doing some Michael Metzner's making me laugh in the stream. Now let's talk about something. Oh, wow, we are running out of time here. We are running out of time. There's yeah, so you guys probably know about this. Heath Tarbert, a Bitcoin ally or enemy. But one of the things that I wanted, this is the, Giancarlo backs him. So, we know him because he's, affectionately known as Crypto Dad because he's really been kind of pro Bitcoin. And I'm thinking that his successor probably would have been handpicked. We don't really know where Heath Tarbert stands on it. But one of the things I think is promising here is that he shared his vision of helping the CFTC transition into a 21st century regulator for today's digital markets. That sounds like code for something that we know called digital assets. But it remains to be seen. I happen to feel like, Tarbert's very pro-business, and it's likely he opposes over-regulation that would stifle innovation. So, where does he stand? We don't really know, but I actually think it's probably going to be good, and the timing may actually be good too. I think that Giancarlo doesn't stand down. I think it's sometime in July. It was in this article somewhere. Somewhere in the article, he's going to basically stand down. So here's Google, our old pals Google. Google laughs at an antitrust drama, taunts the government with a $2.6 billion acquisition. They basically just did one of their biggest acquisitions since they bought, what was the one they bought? Yeah, since Nest. They purchased Nest, but this is pretty massive. And what's interesting about it, the valuation on Looker, which they picked up, was half of this just on their last raise, or last venture capital raise. So you think about that. Your valuation comes out. The money that you take is based on your valuation. You're worth X. You put an X amount of money in the pot is what determines what piece of the pie you own on a percentage basis. So in this particular instance, you have them doubling their valuation, which is insane. But they're also looking at going public, so you have to look at that too. So they probably had a lot to do to get it done. I know that Amazon and Microsoft also took a good look, right? Look. They looked at it and they passed on it. They either passed on it or they didn't come up with enough money. And they also have a different foothold. If you look at, you guys probably be surprised by this, but the number one cloud storage company is Amazon. Want to know who number two is? Is it Google or is it IBM? It's actually IBM. IBM is number two in the cloud storage space. And then pulling up the rears, surprisingly enough, only because Google got into the game very late, is number three. Did I talk about the JPM app yet? I did, Mac 314. I did talk about that JPM app. I can probably hit it again. It's an emoji app that they thought was going to be wildly successful. So yeah, DuckDuckGo is another good one. I like DuckDuckGo. They don't track you. They're not following you. They don't have their nose, buried deep in your back all the time. They make money. They're profitable. They're a great company. So this is Looker on the quadrant, right? So you've got some of these other companies that kind of come in right around here. They're a data analytics company. I think that this is probably going to be a very good acquisition just because of the people who are aligned with this particular company. I thought I had a tab here that might have had it. This is Looker right here. Yeah, so it's basically an API for data, but I was trying to find the names of the companies. You'd be shocked at all the people that, holy cow, I don't know where it is. I probably had it open and closed it, but anyway, it's a big data company, and it's a really phenomenal acquisition. I think it's going to be good, and it's going to really help Google kind of get back into the game because they have a partnership with close to 350 customers. So it's going to be a good pick up an app for them. So let's want to close out the show. I know we're running a little bit behind, but I want to talk about this because I think this is really cool. This is something called Winston. I'll talk a little bit about it. So with Winston Online privacy, I'm a big privacy guy. I talk about privacy. I usually do one segment on privacy on every one of the streams. So one of the cool things about this is this privacy device. It's a small little box that sits between your modem and your router and routes all the traffic through 20 to 30 other Winston units, choosing new connections randomly every hour. So as a result, what ends up happening, your data gets scrambled, prevents traditional tracking techniques, blocks over 90,000 trackers, ads, clickbait sources, and it can actually speed up browsing and reduce data usage. Its browser access dashboard lets you see what's being blocked, and one comes free with the 1-year subscription of the service. So I really like this because when we start drilling down a little bit on this, so one of the things a lot of people think VPN is like, virtual private networking is very, very locked down. It really isn't. So there's a lot of issues with that. One of the things that I like is, first of all, it reduces your data usage by 45%. Not that that may necessarily be an issue, but because it does random connections, it's even better than a VPN type of box. So it's constantly scrambling and constantly doing something. I kind of look at, if you look at Elixir. Elixir, Mr. Chum has that Elixir that's coming out, and that's big on privacy, which I'm very, very bullish on Elixir. I like Elixir too because Elixir has nodes that kind of mask your privacy too. It switches up and randomizes. So I kind of look at that. This is something for your personal home that you can do that. It also filters cookies. It won't log your data. It'll work with streaming sites. Really well thought out too. And I don't know if you guys know anything about Kickstarter. I always get suckered into buying things on Kickstarter. I don't know, I had a little gadget that I bought recently. I don't know where it is. So it's floating around here somewhere. But I always buy some things on Kickstarter. I buy them and then I forget. What happens is you have to have enough money. So this one had a $20,000 goal. They've already raised $130,000, meaning it has 440 backers, only 23 to go. And then what happens is when you order one of these, when you pre-order it, there's different levels. And when you pre-order it, let me look what the first level is here. Okay, so this was 209. That was one of the rewards. This one's 349. You get that and a lifetime subscription, so you're never going to pay for that. Gigabit Ethernet cable, the box, and a subscription. I don't know how much the subscriptions are yet, but I wanted to go down here. And they do a basic comparison here. They kill it. They're really killing it. So it's a very, very solid. I can see myself getting one of these in the future. Here's that one. They did at one point have it for 189. But it's getting some traction out there, man. They actually have a good little video on it. So it scrambles the internet, and you basically what you're doing is you end up browsing the web anonymously. Yeah, I think Jungle. I think Saturday night would be awesome, man. Would be awesome. I think it would be awesome to go live, man. I gotta find out what's on our calendar, man. There's so much stuff going on with the family. I mean, sometimes I'm like. I'm going along in my and then we end up doing stuff. So I don't know. I right now I'm going to give you a tentative yes, but I'll get back. I'll hit you up on there yeah. Get back to having fun. Can we have some fun? That's what I like to do here. I hope that we have some fun here too, man. I totally agree with that. So I love little charts like this. I don't have to read a lot of stuff. Sometimes I have to read stuff and I go like, yeah, okay, I get this as a house. Social activity blocked. Search activity blocked. I like people to put together fun charts that basically would take 4 paragraphs of reading, but I just read it. I look at this little pictogram right here. I'm like, I got it, man. I get it. And then there's the internet, so it blocks everything. Yeah, so this is good. Also works with, Prime Video, Netflix, Twitch, Spotify, Nest, all the good ones. It's a cool thing. Every once in a while I like to spot these cool little things that are going on Kickstarter. So many cool projects out there. When it moons, I'm going to be a Kickstarter fool. I'm going to be all over this thing. So, what else do we have here? I think we're coming close to an end, kids. We are coming close. This is a story that I saw. So obviously everyone knows Notre Dame basically lost the roof. And what they're basically saying is, hey, there's one idea out there to restore it basically as an Apple store. You know how Apple's got all the glass and stuff? It's kind of an interesting concept. So this company called 8 Inc., their design firm for basically conceptualizing the Apple store. You see the tie-in there? You see what I did there? You see that? Apple tie-in glass, right? So that cube, if you've ever been on Fifth Avenue, it's cool. It's just a giant cube sitting on what looks like to be in the middle of nowhere. And then you pop down the stairs and there's an Apple store. Boom. So what they're doing is they're saying that the spire and the glass ceiling, they're basically saying this, and they're doing some pictures of what that would look like. That it would be illuminated like that. It would be all glass, and basically it would be the old spire that they had. But they're just kind of so that there was an idea and a lot of stuff going around in France. They were saying no, we got to rebuild it exactly the same. And then there was another school of thought that said no, man. I mean, it's so old. I mean, it's it's 800 whatever, 900 whatever it is for years old. We got to rebuild this thing and do something really modern, a modern cool top. And obviously the modern part didn't win, but this is an interesting take to see that doing all glass and stuff kind of reminds me a little bit. There's a section of the Musée d'Orsay in France, which is the better, in my opinion, the better museum to go see. I mean, the Louvre is great if you want to get lost for about 3 or 4 days, and it has great stuff. But I like the Impressionist stuff, which is right across the Thames over there. So you just pop across the river. It's an old rail station. It's called the Musée d'Orsay, and they have all the Impressionists there. You know, a bunch of Van Goghs, and it's pretty cool. And they have a section in there. It kind of reminds me a little bit of this, where it's kind of glass. You walk over a portion of it, you see a bunch of the slats and stuff. So I really like what this is. I like the fusion of old meets new, new meets old, old and new. They're friends. They come together. So you kind of keep in the old version of it with sort of a new update of that. And I thought it was a pretty interesting thing. And this has nothing to do with cryptocurrency. Nothing at all. It's just some fun things, text that we come across in our daily world here. I was looking at Matt. You know, I had Matt on the other night. I had him on the stream, and I was looking at some stories he put together. Let me see what else would I have. Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about this. Of course it doesn't play. Well, of course it doesn't play. Let's do this. I got a blank screen. Okay, here we go. So, you know, there's this robotic dog that they have. This robotic dog. They were doing a demo on stage, and will this play? I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, the internet's like just locking up. But anyway, they had this robotic dog on stage. They're doing the big intro. Everyone's got their phones out. They're gonna pull this robotic dog up on stage, and what? Oh, geez, what just happened? The dog tries to roll over, and then boom, legs up. The dog is done. Right? It's like, and then you see they're right in the middle of a demo. This is the spot. They call it spot. Spot's like doing a demo here, and all of a sudden just goes legs up. Right? I mean, it's and then they try to distract and take his pulse. He's still there. Let's hit him a couple times. Oh, he's dead. Right? And then there was just this other one that I tweeted out before that. This other little, so this is Boston Dynamics. I think they used to be owned by Google. I think Google sold them off. So here it is right here. This is just some amateur video. What it does, it picks up a dog toy. That's not creepy at all. It kind of like makes its way over to another real dog. The real dog's freaked out. Look at his face. He's like, what? He's like, what's? He's ready to jump on this thing. And then boom, it drops the toy for the dog. So you've got a robotic dog. And basically sort of meets real dog, and then this thing trots off, and you're like, kill that dog before someone had mentioned over here. Was it J Currency? Yeah, so J Currency said Black Mirror is a good show for the future. We had C Reed put one of these. Yeah, have wanted one of these dogs since I saw Bezos with one, waiting for the moon. There was a funny comment here. Let's see where. Oh yeah, this is the one right here. Yeah, Whitefly 00s, I can see a gun turret mounted on the top in the future. Whoa. Yeah, that's exactly what's probably going to end up happening. You see some sort of a gun turret up there. It's going to be a little bit crazy. We don't need any of that stuff. But, yeah, I wanted to, so Miyagi's here. Miyagi, I didn't shout you out, man. I'm sorry about that. But I just saw you just popping in here. I wanted to, yes, I believe you can use Winston with the VPN. I think you can. If you go to Kickstarter, just go Google Winston. Google. I mean, just search for it on the site. And I think you can. But again, it's sort of, you don't need VPN. But I know what you're saying. You don't really need VPN because it's scrambling your connection all the time. And the whole idea of virtual private network is that you're anonymous. The problem is they can log your data and they can actually sell the data. You'd never know about it. You'd find out about it when it got hacked one day, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, wait a minute, I use that VPN company. Whoa, I use that VPN company. So, hey, Zbits is back, guys. Zbits is back. Do not tell him the secret I told you. Do not tell him. Do not let him in on the secret. Just messing with the Zbitsers. There's no secret. The secret is XRP, and it's not really a secret, but it's a secret to some people out there, is the standard, will be the standard bearer, right? So I wanted to thank everybody, Jungle Inc. being first, Oz Crypto, Miyagi, Notorious, Notorious is in the house, Zbits, I want to shout everyone out here, Dana Palmer, Michael Metzner, Thomas Harris. Yeah, I'll put the link in there. You all the guys to check back once it goes live. I usually throw them in later because I usually find this stuff kind of late, Thomas. So sometimes GBev is in here. Auburn Rain here. And by the way, guys, they're going to go live. I want everyone to jump over to the XRP Zoo. If you're not, I'm sure you're probably following them. But let's go watch, Auburn Rain, James Malpass, and Bob Moneybags, who's also probably prepping for the stream. We got Mac 314, Annalise. Thank you so much for being here. Who am I missing? I'm probably missing out. But Phoenix Starborn, Just caught you up, caught you QQN, Spanish Fly. I don't want to forget anybody, but I'm gonna forget people. There's a lot of people in here. But again, once I want to say thank you. I gotta say we got some cool things going on for the 1,000 subscription giveaway. There's been some amazing people in this community that have generously donated XRP for the giveaway, a jersey. So there's going to be, we're going to just celebrate because I want to have just something to thank everybody just for, supporting me and, tweeting and all the great things that you do and just the stuff you do in your life. We'll get there together about 150 subs from now. And I don't know, it could take July, it could be the end of June, it could be 3 weeks, who knows? But one thing I know is we'll be there together, and hopefully you guys will all be there for that, be giving away some XRP and, doing fun stuff like that. And, who knows, maybe it moons and maybe it's worth a lot. Who knows? Maybe it goes up to $1. What? Could go up to $1. We don't know. But all I know is one thing. When you're watching this on playback, please let me know what you think, what you like, what stories you'd like to see. Give me some feedback. I need some feedback from people out there. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to get inside your head. I want to know what is going on. That's my take. What's yours? Chip? Ow!